Honorable Commissioners of the State Executive Council, let me especially recognize the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Daniel Wadishu Maxon, Special Advisors, Senior Special Assistants, General Managers of Media Houses here present, top government functionaries, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are here for yet another press conference. Shortly, His Excellency will make his brief, or give his briefs. Thereafter, we'll, if time permits, but I don't think we'll be able to take as many questions as most of us would want to ask. We'll take a few questions, and thereafter, we'll call it a day. It's on that note, I'd like to once again say good afternoon all, and welcome to the conference room of His Excellency the Governor of Bayelsa State. At this point, Your Excellency, before we start, I'd like to humbly request that we have your voice level.
Are we testing?
Yes, sir.
Testing.
I think
we have one in Sagbama, one in Ekiremo, one in Nimbe, one in Brass, one in Yanagwa, one in Southern. Is still testing?
I think we are good to go. We are good to go. Your Excellency, may I, on that very, very beautiful, heartwarming, and cheering note, humbly request that you make your briefs at this point. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much, my good and wonderful people of Bayelsa State. It's a pleasure to once again have an opportunity to say a few things on current developments. Let me congratulate all of us in our state for turning out en masse as we did in spite of the postponement. Most of you went through a lot of inconveniences, spent scarce resources, still to get back to your various communities and other places where you registered as voters. And in spite of the not too friendly climate, you all endeavored to cast your votes, and I want to thank you for that, because that's your contribution towards the development of your state and of our country. I want to thank you all. It's not easy in our terrain, going to villages here and now, weekend after weekend, at great cost. And to add it all in an atmosphere that should be friendly, in an atmosphere that should be very safe, but has been made deliberately unsafe, deliberately frightening by few rascals who are supported by criminally minded elements in the security forces. So I want to thank you all for braving all these odds to cast your votes as you did. By now, most of you have heard and have seen also the results of your votes. The genuine, authentic, and real results that you, the good people of this state, voted for. So many of them are in the public domain. And my attitude has been, as you all know, to promote free and fair elections and peaceful governance, promoting consensus building, peace building. So even in the midst of this current disturbing situation, there's some little good news to share about. For the first time, the good and wonderful people of the Ekiremo community, who have been held hostage, election after election, decades, they expressed they had an opportunity to vote yesterday. And so I want to use this opportunity to commend and appreciate the Amananawe of the Ekremo community, the good and wonderful people of the Ekremo community, the leadership of the community, all those who insisted that they must vote. What else are they asking for? Just to come out and vote. And yet people say they should not vote, and something that is right are dead wrong. But I want to congratulate the people of Ekremo who, because of the advocacy we have been pursuing, and I want to also congratulate INEC and all those agencies who work to ensure that the people of Ekremo community, for the first time in how many years, women, men, young people had an opportunity to vote. You can imagine the feeling of liberation, the air of freedom that they enjoyed. And the results are all known. Some people lost their units, some lost their wards. I'm not here to gloat about who won and who lost. That's not my style. Even while campaigning, I made it clear, interview after interview, address after address, that whereas I'm concerned about my candidates and my party winning, nevertheless, my greater concern is about the process. The process. People are not slaves. Our people are not slaves. And no criminal should be supported to hold his people, a community or an area hostage. That is called terrorism in saner climes and societies. Terrorism. And I don't want to condone that. I don't support it. I don't encourage it. I condemn it. I discourage it. And I have been campaigning against all that kind of brigandage and criminality and terrorism masquerading as politics in this state. And in the remainder of my tenure, I'm going to continue to do so. So I want to also congratulate my brother, my younger brother, the Minister of State, because this is democracy. When I was told he was going around talking to his people, I said, this is democracy. That's what I want to see. I want to see a Silva going to talk to his people. Support me and my party's candidate. That is what I want to see. We must respect our people. That our people are poor, that our people are oppressed, our people are impoverished. Our people are rendered, to be the way they are does not give anybody, any one of us for that matter, a right to increase their burden by terrorizing them and their children, making them to run helter-skelter, as Triple Silva and Kojo and his military supporters and hoodlums did in Basambri. That is plain terrorism. Plain terrorism. But at least Ekremo has started, Ekremo voted. I want to also congratulate the good people of Brass, who have never voted. For decades, never voted. One strong man will get up, get the support of security agencies, get the connivance of INEC, shoot guns, some will be running helter-skelter, and then they will take results and write. In Toronto, that island has never known elections. I'm happy to announce to our people, and I congratulate all of you in Toronto Island, Brass Island, that because of our push, because of the change that we have brought about in these 7 years, and with the cooperation of all, the good people of Brass Island voted. You can again imagine how relieved they feel. That is democracy. Yes, winners have emerged. They will be formally announced. Some of it is in the social media. But I am happy that the process has been allowed to work in those places. That is what it should be. I went to my community to vote. Didn't go with any security aid even. Everybody else stayed in my compound. No soldiers following me around. We must respect our people. And if Professor Brambaifa is listening, he better listen well. Don't disrespect the people of Agbero because you have just been appointed MD, acting MD of NDDC. Never do that. Whether you have money to give to your party, whether instead of using it to develop our people, whether you have money to give to soldiers or any other security, you don't have the right to intimidate further our people who are already traumatized. I went to my community simply and voted. I returned. Nobody barricaded, no gun shot. That's the way it should be. That is the Bayelsa I've been working so hard, day and night. The new Bayelsa that we have been working hard to create. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while I have talked about the little progress we have made, it is not yet Uhuru. You are aware that in Basambri, Timothy Silva with Kojo, who is the Nigerian federal government sponsored and propped criminal masquerading as a surveillance contractor in Basambri with guns, because if you are a non-state actor and you are with weapons, you are a criminal. And I have no apologies to call you so. I will do so privately, I will do so publicly. No non-state actor has a right to be allowed to raise a militia competing with the state security forces. And the soldiers are looking at him, colluding with him, protecting him. The other security forces are doing the same. And you have military officers there. You have a DPO there. You have a brigade commander here with a brigade that we support and encourage. You have a DSS here. And you have a GOC who has now turned this entire division to be the most politicized division in the Nigerian army. Very sad. General Saham, I will do a formal letter documenting my feelings and my views about what your officers have been allowed to do in this state. In this state, brigadier generals, a general now escorts an MDDC MD. A general now has to perform election duties in the Bayelsa state. Generals. You go to Brambaifa, Professor Brambaifa, he has generals with him. Doing what? Nobody knows. Printing ballot papers, carrying ballot papers. That is how our military, especially the Nigerian army, has been reduced to. And all of you know how highly I regard our men and officers and women in uniform, and how I work with institutions that have to do with our security and collective well-being. I still hold them in very high esteem. But they themselves owe themselves and their institutions and our country a duty to be professional and do what is right, what is demanded of them, and what their duty to our country and to our state is. You have army officers who took over operations. You are aware of people who killed 2 innocent people in the Wikura community. People who were not involved in any act of violence or brigandage. Right in their communities, right in their houses. Just because an APC thug who had arms, who had armed soldiers, pointed him out as somebody that should be shot and killed. Every APC leader in this state has hordes, I'm not talking of one or two, hordes of security officials. Some army officers, SSS officers, police officers, police you can't even count. When we don't have police to man even polling units, they are withdrawn and given to them because they are APC leaders. That's what we have witnessed. Now, my good people, you need to know where I stand on this. You all know me. I don't lead from the back. I lead from the front. Our state, as we speak, is under invasion. From all available intelligence, our state is under attack. And I don't know what we have done to the federal government of Nigeria, that they have turned our state into a garrison of sorts. Yes, the military officers have a role in providing escort duties. Yes, I appreciate that, and I commend them when they diligently perform those duties. But when they convert themselves to aid and abet terrorism, because that's clearly what it is. If people brandish weapons, shoot, terrorize people, scare people, overwhelm people, and then force them to do things that they otherwise would not have done, that is terrorism. And they hold them hostage, actually. That was what Timothy Silva and Kojo and his military supporters and security personnel did in Basambri. They started from Friday night shooting at people. And you all know that one person was killed. One person was killed in Basambri. Several shot, several injured. The houses of all PDP leaders attacked. Bullet wounds are there, their vehicles vandalized. That is the politics now. That is normal politics in Nigeria now, in Basambri. Well, if it is good enough for Silva and Kojo and his military supporters, I have a duty to alert the world that is not good enough for me and for our state. They shot at people, men, women, children, didn't care who. And people scampered out of Basambri for safety. And then, the following morning, with that happening throughout the night, and you wonder whether we are in a failed country. That happened in the night. They sustained the firing till morning. In the morning, they now, electoral officials who were meant to have taken materials directly to the wards are directed. You all heard the national chairman of INEC saying because of Bayelsa's terrain, materials should be taken directly to the rack centers. They didn't do that. They connived with INEC. And we have lily-livered people in the INEC here. The REC, administration, everybody, lily-livered. Instead of calling a spade by its name, said, no, we can't take this. They allowed them to carry all the materials for the Basambri 7 wards. And then held them hostage in a hotel called Hotel Darius. And you all know the owner of that hotel in Basambri. And there, they shot more guns, fired at more people to scare them away, with all of electoral officials and materials there, held them hostage till now. Some of them, while they were there, sent out text messages to this REC, to this AdminSec, to this INEC in Bayelsa here. And the security forces are aware, some of them. The hapless electoral officers said, look, we are held hostage. There's nothing we can do. They're forcing us. We can't even go to our rack centers. We can't go to our communities. Voting was meant to have taken place in communities, in polling units, in wards, not in Basambri. Yes, the units for Basambri, voting should have done, but not even under that circumstance. And under that circumstance, this criminal, unrepentant criminal that the Nigerian state is propping up and supporting, called Timothy Silva, with Kojo and their military supporters, stood there and compiled results, so-called results. When you don't have a vote, it's logical. You can't have a result. There was no vote. There was no election. Election means people coming out to vote. Not you carrying out an act of terrorism and commandeering electoral officials to your place and securing it because you have support of military people. And so what? That is not an election. If they call it an exercise, military exercise, it may very well be a military exercise, but not an election. An election is when the people who are registered voters have a free choice to come out and vote one way or the other. Why are you afraid of losing if you're popular? Why are you afraid if your candidate is popular and your party is popular? Why are you afraid? Are you not seeing? You see the primitive life they live. You see now with the results how even big names, even contestants, are losing in units and wards. In an election, you mustn't win everywhere. You cannot win everywhere in an election. Must Buhari win Bayelsa by all means? He can become a president without Bayelsa votes, as he was elected 2015. But the moment you say you want to win by force, and you don't even want the people to have an opportunity to say yes or no, then that is an act of terrorism. And so I'm not only alerting our people, the state, and the world, I'm telling the people of Basambri not to accept this, and they have my support. Basambri itself has to be freed from this strongman criminal rule. It has to join the Kremon. It has to join Tuambras. It has to join other civilized communities where people are not allowed to impose themselves by force of arms on others. And I call on the leadership of Basambri, very enlightened people, one of the best in their chosen professions, not to allow this nonsense to persist on that proud land. For us, we will not accept this. I have had cause to issue several statements condemning this. And we lead demonstrations and protests aimed at vindicating the democratic rights of the people of Basambri. I shall do so. And I better I'm calling on INEC, the REC, Resident Electoral Commissioner. Let him drop that his lily liver and wear the garb of an electoral umpire in this state. Because if you allow Timothy Silva with Kojo to take 7 electoral materials, lock the place down by force of arms, illegal arms, with soldiers and others conniving with them, then what makes you think that you are ready for any election in this state or anywhere? Then what you are telling politicians and the people is your votes are not important. If you want to win an election, you better go and raise a militia. So when my electoral officials and youth corps come, you hold them into a room, shoot, and then you write a result and accept and announce. And we are waiting to see whether this new REC and its officials, whether that is the message they want to pass to our people or to our country, and most importantly also to history. So that's about Basambri. I'm aware that there are some demonstrations going on in Brass. Every person who is offended, who has been unfairly treated, has a right to express that grievance. You cannot beat a child and expect that child not to cry. You don't want a child to cry, then stop beating it. You don't want people to complain, then do what is right in this state. Whether you are an INEC official or you are a security official. My call, as usual, as a man of peace, as someone who promotes decency in governance, is to call on you all of you who have been unfairly treated, to channel your grievances And even when you have to publicly demonstrate it, to do so peacefully and not cause any further harm or damage to people's lives or properties. I will have to call the security agencies, the Commissioner of Police, to give him instructions in this regard. You are also aware that in Agbere, a community that has never known electoral crisis, and Professor Brambaifa knows this, they went there with over 50 soldiers. Soldiers that even a governor does not have. Well, maybe they multiply that number by the number of states in the NDDC. So there was, these are people deliberately scattered all the votes. Deliberately. When they saw they were losing. They scattered deliberately, committing an electoral offense, a criminal offense. I've seen the videos of all the scattered ballot papers. I've seen the videos of the hapless women in Agbere demonstrating, singing sorrowfully that all we want is to vote. That's what the people in Agbere were asking for. All they wanted was to vote. And yet, somebody came with soldiers, with even a general, now as ADC, and they scattered all the materials. I have all the videos. And I'm told that from yesterday night till now, they have cooked up their own results. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know that this INEC that we have has two sets of results. One set of results that it gives to the public, another set of results that it gives to the APC and their leaders. I'm aware that there are efforts to storm Sagbamba Collation Center even as we speak, in a local government where they lost unit by unit, word by word, and where, for your information, I didn't even see the need to lead a campaign. Never even went to campaign there. I don't need to campaign. I'm with my people. And the people appreciate my platform, they appreciate what I've done, and they appreciate my style. I serve people, solve their problems, personal and general, from morning till midnight. And yet, political leaders who want to be relevant, who need votes, they sit in Abuja. They have no contact with their people. They don't know the problems of their people. And worst of all, they come and insult their people and oppress them using our nation's military with INEC conniving. Well, I've called on all those who are on lawful duty at Sagbamba Collation Center and all other collation centers across our state to be steadfast to their oaths of office and go on and don't listen to any illegal, unconstitutional directive. Because I know there are people asking security officers to abandon their duty posts, to enable criminals invade. I know developments that have happened in Ekirimo since yesterday. In the evening, after the vote was known, and as they have been doing collation, they have been collecting. And yet, directives one after the other, directing security officials on a lawful important national assignment to say they should leave the place, to enable people storm the place with fake soldiers, fake police, fake navy, all fully armed, to take away materials at collation point and kill as many people as they can kill. I commend the dedication and patriotism of all those who are striving to do their job in these very difficult circumstances. Because we now have a situation in our country where the only thing a Minister of Defense will do is even call field junior officers and give instructions as to how they should cooperate with an APC shifting. call commanders, threaten commanders, blackmail commanders, and remove their independence of action and thought in the national interest. I'm saying this publicly because I'm not one who says things privately, what I want to say publicly. I say it privately as well as I say so publicly. The world has to know, and the world will know more. Accordingly, tomorrow, the government of Bayelsa State will set up a commission of inquiry that will document again the roles and activities and identities of all officers, whether you are INEC, whether you are a collation officer, whether you are an SPO, whether you are a returning officer, who works to authenticate a fraud and thereby participates in a criminal act. Don't ask me what we will do with it. I have a duty to document this for posterity. And who knows, times may change. And crime does not run against the state. At least as a former Attorney General, I know that. So that process will start. In southern Niger, an area where you have a number of challenge of accessibility, which itself has resulted in a number of social problems that we're solving. But we'll try to bring some level of stability. But I know that in Apoy, in Korokorosi, in Ogbimbri, in Azozama, materials were just scattered away. And INEC, this INEC that is lily-livered, that cannot announce that, look, you cannot lock people up and announce, produce a result, we can't accept it. Is that not the same INEC that has been telling us that this election is card reader election? So in Bayelsa is no longer card reader. In Bayelsa is no longer one man, one vote. It is one APC chieftain voting for thousands of people. Because Timothy Silva is good at manufacturing results from his pocket. In the last governorship election, you all know what he tried to do in Southern Niger and failed. After losing all local government areas, he didn't win any local government area. When we tested forensically the results that he got through terrorist activities in Brass, we saw that they were all printed with palm kernels and so on and so forth. I'm a trained investigator. We know how to investigate things. But we left that behind. The only lawful votes which the law recognizes that should be recorded were the votes that I got, my party and I, and my running mate, got from Egwema, from Akasa, from Odioma. And they are my people. I'm in touch with them closely. And even now, there's lost everywhere. Lost everywhere. So, I would like the public to know this, that we cannot continue like this, and there has to be a change. I call on INEC to do what is right, immediately announce the rejection of the purported results from the 7 wards or so of Basambri. My candidate is here, Chief Blessing Epigansi Zagara, waiting to vote, like several thousands were waiting to vote in their communities. He never voted, never saw materials, no electoral officer came to his community or other communities. People assembled themselves, a gang of people, a gang of criminals, assembled themselves in Basambri to commit a crime. And we are waiting to see whether INEC will accept the outcome of that crime. If it were a financial misdemeanor, we would have called it proceeds of crime. Whatever result that Timothy Silva and Kojo and the APC are brandishing from Basambri is a proceed of crime. Whoever presents it is an accomplice to crime. Because there was no election, there was no vote. And therefore, there can be no result. It is the duty of INEC to look at the legitimate results and then take an appropriate decision. And that is why the framers of our laws and the Constitution make a distinction between two categories of votes. Lawful votes. Check the laws. For you to be returned, you must have scored a majority of lawful votes, not illegitimate figures that are allocated. Those are not votes. Those are numbers arbitrarily allocated. I know that there were one or two infractions in other parts of the state. That is what the Commission of Inquiry will unravel. We would like the general public, once I inaugurate it, to send their memorandum in their community, from their communities. What they saw, observers should come and tell us who will produce it. And a copy will be made available to the international community, all embassies in Nigeria, all missions. And they will all know who did what, who aided and abetted what. And INEC office itself will no longer have any place to hide. Because the moment we stop this criminality, the votes of our people will be respected. And anyone who wants to lead our people, who wants to serve our people, knows where to go to. The people themselves. Not the GOC's office. Not the brigade commander's office. Not the director of SSS office or DG's office. Not the commissioner of police office or the IG's office. That's the only politics the APC and their few leaders are playing. And buying weapons, arming young people instead of talking to the people. I condemn also any act of brigandage carried out by anybody in PDP. Nobody has my support. Everyone in my party, all my close people know my feelings and my views about this. In this environment, I've been in politics up to this level, winning tough electoral battles, and yet I don't know the price of an AK-47 rifle. And I don't want to know. That's the business of the military and the security. But I want all of us to work together to sanitize this state so that we can have a better Bayelsa. I also want to call, therefore, for investigation of all the cases where I'm personally aware, some are in the public domain. They should not be spared. Nobody should be spared. They should be properly investigated. Investigated and proper actions taken. I know a certain Yekini Nabena, who is Deputy National Publicity Secretary of APC, arrested with guns in OD. But the military people had instructions to release him. A number of people have been arrested here and there. I'm not speaking for, I'm not supporting any such, irrespective of the party of the person. I call for proper investigation, proper inquiry, according to the laws of the state and of the country. Finally, I'd like to call on all of you, the good people of our state, to maintain your resilience. Be law-abiding, have proper respect for constituted authority, support and encourage our security forces, those who are bent on doing their work to maintain law and order. But never ever allow yourself to be intimidated or cowed by anybody carrying out an illegal duty. Anybody in uniform who is not working to promote law and order and stability is on illegal duty, irrespective of the rank, irrespective of the uniform, irrespective of who has given that order. That's a crime. That is an illegal assignment. And you are well within your right to resist and say no to that. I have always insisted on that because I want a peaceful state, but also a state of people who know their rights. I want to thank you all, and at this point, I can take a few questions. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for coming.
Your Excellency, sir, malfunctional card readers seems to be one of the major drawbacks in successful elections. This also played out yesterday when the card reader failed to authenticate your fingerprint. How would you rate INEC performance in this regard?
Well, first of all, as I said after voting, those of us who take assignments were given very seriously. I don't see why, after all these years, a card reader should be failing, or the frequency with which it is failing. It's actually an embarrassment. This is technology. Technology is not rocket science. People walk to their banks and then at the press of a button. In fact, these days people don't even go to banks to transact businesses. And here we all go to our communities, line up, and then to vote. After how many years since the introduction of card reader? Not only my card reader, anyway, it has not worked. My card reader has not worked. 2015, it didn't work. My own re-election, I don't know. I don't think it worked. So I don't know who configured it and what has been programmed into it. But it shouldn't be so. We should be making the card reader by now, we should be at home with it. But, you know, running an election is a massive logistical exercise. It's like going on an invasion. It's a serious national mobilization effort. So a number of things can be excused, but I think INEC has to clearly step up its game. Even now, in some of the areas, for example, in Ward 6 in my local government, the voters were all ready, but some ballot papers were not there. You have a ballot paper, you will not see result sheets, and these days, even the voters are becoming apprehensive. They are becoming cynical and skeptical, and rightly so. So they said, no, until we see this, we will not vote. Oh. These APC people and INEC and security, we don't trust them. Oh. It's the people saying it now. So they didn't vote. So I hear they are going to conduct that exercise. So let me urge all of them in Ward 6 who are registered to go and vote. The time for campaign is over, so I won't campaign. I'll go and vote your conscience, but do so in peace. I don't want any crisis anywhere in this state. Also in Ogbea, Ward 5, in the Anyama area, Okodi Ward specifically, the materials were not complete, and therefore the people resisted. They said, no, we will not vote. You know? So, and I hear that will also take place today. I call on the voters there to, it's very inconveniencing. They should manage to still go. It's a national duty. I think 2 wards again in one unit or 2 units in Elebele and Meringue or so. That is also happening, and a few other places. I am very conversant with the politics of this state. I know this state inside out. I know the players by name in every community, by name. That is it. But the card reader didn't work as well as it should. But all of us should bear with INEC. It's a massive exercise. But they should do better. Thank you. Yes.
Your Excellency, my name is Osaro.
No, you can be seated, don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
My name is Osaro Ohomina. I write for Leadership Newspapers. Your Excellency, in Tumbo, in Sagbama, your area,
yes.
That's Unit 11, Ward 13.
Yes.
They said 6 persons, we learned 6 persons were arrested for ballot box snatching.
Yes.
And some other things. Are they going to repeat the election there? Or these 6 persons, are you following up? What will happen to those 6 persons?
Well, thank you very much. I want to commend the security agencies for, that's why I said, for those who are doing their legitimate duties, I support them, I encourage them, and we should all pray for them. They are doing a great job. I'm only against the politicization from the top, actually criminal politicization from the top. I know that arrests were made in Tumbo. A certain gentleman was trying to, when he saw he was losing, his party was losing, he is known for that. We have that record of him. And the security personnel went after him when he snatched the materials and ran to his house. I think he was later, a number of them were apprehended. He ran into the bush. I don't know for how long he will be in the bush. I think it's part of what we will identify and follow up. I don't speak for INEC. And so even results, it will be irresponsible to use this platform to talk about that. That's why I'm keeping myself. It is for INEC to determine what to do. Our business is to work for safety, stability, so that anytime INEC takes a decision, if they want to go and do it, they're free to do so. That's it. Thank you. Yes. Okay, the man behind. You are the only gentleman at the back. It's like you like. Yeah, go on.
Good day, Your Excellency. My name is Patrick Ndubisi. I report for Repa FM. With a few pockets of violence recorded, Biafrans are apprehensive as regards what might happen at the House of Assembly elections come March 9. What will be your charge to Biafrans as well as security agencies as we quest for a free elections come March 9? Thank you.
Well, thank you. You see, this is not just about the next House of Assembly elections. I am aware of what they are planning. They don't plan to win elections, they plan to kill. And I'm surprised how people will be in a party and in a group where each time you meet is how many guns you have bought or will buy and how many people you will kill. I don't know how the mindset with which they do that. Anyway, I'm told most of them in that party are cultists and they're used to all these type of criminal activities. Otherwise, I can't see it. So the assembly election is not only what should concern us. What should concern us is the fate of elections generally. If what happened, the terrorism and brigandage, and you see what baffles me is the impunity with which they do it. People commit crimes and should be scared of the state agencies, should be scared of being seen and known. But these APC leaders have converted all the institutions of state to be organs of their party. And there's nobody to call anybody to order. Nobody to call anybody to order. If you are a minister of defense in this government, they take their role to be that of giving soldiers to APC people with instructions to allow their thugs to kill people. They don't understand their role to be fighting Boko Haram in Sambisa forest. They don't understand their role to be so. Everything is politics, and politics is everything. So, if INEC allows what Silva and Kojo and Degi, who is supposed to be a bishop, is my friend, but is in a very terrible mess. How can he claim to be a bishop, to be a beneficiary of this type of brigandage and terrorism and criminality? And he wants to call himself a bishop, an impostor. I don't know how the kind of conscience some people have. Because you want to do something for me like that, I tell them, no, I'm not interested. Let us go and do the election. My people know me, they will vote me. Anyway, so if that stands in Basambri, if people carry something from Azuzama and sit down and write it, then what you are saying is that, look, Governor Dickson, you don't need to work for Bayelsans, you don't need to campaign, no candidate needs to campaign. All you do is buy guns, buy bombs, train people. And if they use money to buy, you think that anybody can beat the government of Bayelsa State? If we were to fund criminality and terrorism. You see, because I'm using all the resources to be building even this type of office that they could have built but they didn't build, the best governor's office in the country, the best airport in the country, roads to the minister's house in Nekremo, a road to Silva's Nembe. That's what we are doing, building schools, building hospitals. That is the job of government. Now, I won't succumb to that temptation, but if you don't stop this, you may have a governor who will say, hey, okay, let me see how many guns you buy now. And then you have a theater of war. Politicians sitting with me commend me. I'm sure you must have heard that. I said, this kind of man who will sit down and plan election with us without even setting money aside for guns and bullets, as they used to do. That's the culture that I'm moving against. So I'm angry, even at the personal level, that state agencies that should work with me to sanitize, we're not looking for a perfect system. But for God's sake, don't allow a situation where you now encourage brigandage and terrorism. So all the younger politicians in Basamble, what are you telling them? What you are telling them is to be bigger Kojos and Timipuri Silver tomorrow. So that they will come, barricade their places with guns, and then announce themselves. That's the message you are telling them. So what is at issue is not even just the next House of Assembly elections. No. What is at issue is the sovereignty of the vote. Is the sanctity of the mandate of the people. Like people were telling me, oh, Minister of State is campaigning and meeting people in Ekeremo, compound to compound. I say, very good. That is democratic lesson 0101. And I'm happy that they are learning it. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. But see, in this game, we are there to serve the people. And I want the people respected. When the president spoke, he also insisted on it, that the people of this country should be respected. Are they asking themselves, is Timipuri Silva asking himself, whether President Buhari that he is working for, how many guns has Buhari bought in Katsina to shoot his Katsina people, to lock them up in a hotel? Or you think that Buhari, who is a general, doesn't know how to do that? Or he that is the commander-in-chief, he doesn't have the army officers and the police and others to direct to do that for him? The criminals who are using the president's name and the party as a camouflage for criminality. And there are some lily-livered people who in INEC. By now, INEC should be declaring Silva wanted, Kojo wanted, and place them so that people can arrest them and prosecute them. Which they eventually will be, by the way. It may take time, but it will be. Because we cannot allow this. We cannot allow this because you want to go to House of Assembly or say, so old women in your community should be running away. Huh? When you should be respecting them to say, Mama, you know, help me, I need your photo. That is the respect I want to see them give. It doesn't even matter who wins, for me. And it's unfortunate that INEC, if they don't do this, the message to Bayelsans is that anywhere you see an INEC official, capture the person. That's the message they are sending. Not me, but that is the message they will be sending. But if they, and I told them immediately, and they were announcing it, that if you kidnap, if you hijack, they will cancel. Oh, yeah, cancel now. If somebody has hijacked 7 words, you don't cancel. So, if you can't cancel, tomorrow now send out your core members, your own children as core members, send them to Asusama. Send them to Korokosi, where they've not been to, and expect them to come back safely. To protect the integrity of the process and the person, you do what is right. Immediately that incident happened in Basambri, that night, early morning, INEC should have called it off and then said, police go and arrest so and so people for holding our people hostage. The EO of that place, if he has not written a report, he has to account for it. He has to account. If it is money people are looking for, we'll see it because it will be exposed. The collation officers, the SPOs, they will tell us which communities they went to. Because the community chiefs and others are in touch. They are complaining that no voting took place. So, beyond assembly elections, it's about the future of our democracy. I don't know whether security agencies and INEC really want us to have democracy. I do. Thank you.
Excellency, I'd like to, by your kind permission, request that we take just 2 more questions.
Yes, 2 is okay. One from a lady. The gentleman there, are you a lady? But you are sitting by a lady, so you can take one. Then a lady can round it up.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Yes. Your Excellency, yes, my name is Owens Egrendido for Redeem FM. Yesterday we have a news that a cameraman attached to government house was shot at Satan Ijo. I don't know. Some say he was shot by thugs in military uniform. While some say it was JTF officials. I want to know if you have a preview information on how he was shot.
Well, first of all, our sympathies, our condolences, and our hearts and prayers go to the families and friends of those who were needlessly killed. You see how shameful it is for people to be seen to be dying because of election. An exercise that should promote our country and the state. So it's unfortunate that they died. Like I said, the inquiry will bring out all of this, but the preliminary reports at our disposal indicate clearly, there's no doubt that they were killed by soldiers, they were killed by military men, they were not killed by thugs. The party chieftain who was there, chieftain of the party in his house. It wasn't even at the polling booth. They were there just waiting for the results to be collated and announced. And somebody who has access to soldiers, an APC leader, because they all have access to soldiers and military, all these SSS and civil defense and police and so on, went and called them from Yenagoa and then took them and pointed at them. And they didn't know what was even coming. They just saw them and the soldiers opened fire and immediately killed them. That is the report I have. And he's the son of a respected chief, high chief of my clan, a retired principal and educationist of note in this state, Chief A.A. Taribi. I intend to visit him and his family to condole with him. I want to again use this medium to express profound condolences on account of what has happened. I believe that the full circumstances will be unraveled, but I feel very sad because nobody should die in an election. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If any candidate wins, you defeat my candidate fairly, I will even be congratulating you. I'm that type of politician. We are not enemies to kill ourselves. You all know in this state how even people who disagree with me in my party, they fight me, criticize me. No one has gone through tougher elections than me. But I still regard them as my friends, some as my friends and brothers that I disagree with, not as enemies. I don't wish any of them dead. I wish them defeated, though, properly defeated. And some are already losing their units and their wards and their communities. That is good news for democracy. But not dead, no. I can never sit with anybody and say, go and plan something bad against. No, I would never do that. It's not. My God that I serve does not allow me and will not allow me to do that. And we are working hard to change the political culture and the mindset. It's so sad, so sad. Like I said, in Buhari's Katsina state, why are people not doing that? In Atiku's Adamawa state, why is Atiku not doing that? Why is it that it is a few people in Bayelsa every election time? You bring soldier, you bring police, you bring navy, you bring everything to shoot and kill your own people. I've never done that, and I've contested more elections than them. I hope that if INEC, the police, and we all do the right things, and all of us in leadership show the right examples, with time we'll have a generation of younger politicians who will go into politics not to kill people, not to be in a cult. I hate that. I can deal with criticism and opposition. It's normal to me. But to plan to kill people, money you want to use to buy guns, why don't you use it to support the people so that you can get more support on ground? Why? I can't understand it, honestly. Those planning for elections will be buying arms instead of even someone small thing to support the people that are in need of support. So I feel bad about the deaths, and may their souls rest in peace. The last one, I said it should come from a lady. Yes, I can see she's a lady.
Okay, Your Excellency, sir, mine is on a ballot. Okay, I'm Pauline Onyibo of New Telegraph newspaper.
Yes.
Mine is on election box, ballot box snatching. Even on social media, we saw so many boxes, ballot box snatched. Even some were burnt fire. And a few days to that, Buhari said snatch election box and you waste your life. So how can we now reconcile these two statements? Because up till today, nobody was shot, nobody was killed. Thank you.
Well, we don't join you in wishing that more people were killed. Even the people, the 2 or 3 that died, there are deaths too many. There are needless deaths. But I get the points they are making. First of all, you see, if the president said those who snatch ballot boxes, shoot them at sight, can you reconcile that with the president's own military officers and security aides supporting a man to commit acts of terrorism? Can you reconcile that? Snatch ballot box and you die. You commit terrorism and you live. You snatch or attempt to snatch, you die. Poor, sharp, no one knows. But when generals conspire against democracy to subvert the will of our people and give orders, unlawful criminal orders, to subordinate, put people under unnecessary pressures, and direct people to participate in crimes against this country. Because this type of thing that Silva and Kojo did in Basambri, if it were, we were still in a colonial government, straight from there to jail, and they will be, the British judges will jail them, they will never come out. They won't even try politics again. We are playing with the life of the future of this country. So that comment, first of all, was not necessary. Should have cautioned and said those who should who violated the security forces should deal with them according to the laws, because we have laws guiding it. But I agree that we should discourage people from, snatching ballot papers and so on. Here in this state, it's not the ordinary snatching. They do so at gunpoint. And let me tell you, if you are seen with guns in this state, I've always told the security people, anybody who is seen with an unlawful weapon, it tells me 2 things. Either the person is getting ready to kill, or he has killed before. The security services should know what to do. Security services should know what to do. I don't go against anybody who, because why are you buying guns? My only problem is that they themselves are the ones encouraging criminality. And people with bigger guns, while they go for the guys with the small weapons. But all are bad and we condemn it. I think that's all we can take for now. Let's see how this scenario leads us to. But I will surely, as I said, step up my public advocacy for the defense of the democratic rights of the people of Nembe, Basambri, Opunembe. They have to show that they are Opunembe in the way of decent politics, in the way of respecting one another and treating each other, even when you disagree, you respect one another as brothers and sisters in that place. I want to congratulate again a Kirimo community, congratulate Brass. I think gradually, if we continue like this, younger people will no longer need to be cult leaders and gun runners to be relevant in politics. And I join you all to continue to push further the frontiers of democratic freedom. That's what I'm for. I don't care who you even vote. I know my party will win, but I don't care. Let's protect the process and protect the state and the country. All of you should be in your own ways pushing this and highlighting the failures and calling those who have a duty to act to do what is right. Thank you very much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you in no distant time. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Expectedly, you've spoken well. And of course, you have the right desires, you have the right wishes, you have the right intentions, and in fact, you have the right values.